invite everyone to start celebrating Earth Day with Decarbonize.
Are we taping this, Sarah?
We are, and it's being live streamed, so it'll be archived on the YouTube as well. So we have both going. All right. Terry, do you mind taking over the admitting on the...
I would love to.
Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of our friends joining from around the world for our Decarbonize Earth Day program. Woo! Hello, everyone. We've got hundreds of people here because we know we have students joining from their classrooms. We have students joining from their homes because in some of our schools it is over midnight, and in some of them it's 6 in the afternoon, and others it's 2 in the morning. And we want to welcome you all here today. We also have a number of friends joining us on YouTube who aren't able to access Zoom, and we want to say hello to them. Now, if you are on our YouTube live stream and you want to feel a part of this live conversation on Zoom, you just enter your comments into the chat there. Our friend Rebecca, who is on both platforms, will be relaying your comments and all your conversation back to us today in this room. My name is Sarah. I am been a part of the Decarbonize program now for, oh my goodness, a lot of years. Not as many as my friend Terry, though. Terry, would you like to say hello?
I would love to say hello. Good to see everyone again. It's so exciting to see how this has grown since we started this way back at COP 15 in Copenhagen, and it has grown from then to the amazing collaboration that is now with tens of thousands of students from over how many countries was it last year, Sarah, that participated?
74.
And then to think about us now, including not just conversations around climate, but also conversations around biodiversity.
Wonderful. And our friend Rebecca is also joining us today, who will be running live support with the YouTube and is going to be here helping facilitate our discussions. You want to just quickly say hello?
Hi, good morning from Canada. I'm so happy to see you all again and maybe some new faces. I'm just like, if you see me waving, it's probably to you directly because I get excited when I get to see my friends again. So, hi, I miss you.
And as we get started, I want to do our land acknowledgement in which we celebrate where we are sitting here in Canada. And the lands in which Edmonton sits and the North Saskatchewan River that runs through it have been the sites of natural abundance, ceremony and culture, travel and rest, relationship building, and making and trading for Indigenous peoples since time immemorial. Edmonton, where I am, is located within Treaty 6 territory and within the Métis homelands and the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 4. I acknowledge this land as the traditional territories of many First Nations, such as the Cree, Dene, Stoney, Anishinaabe, and the Blackfoot peoples. This Earth Day, I invite everyone across Canada, across North America, South America, around the world, to support and join those who are doing so much to reaffirm a relationship, a reciprocal relationship with the Earth. And Earth Day is such a great reminder for all of us to speak and act from a place of love and respect and deep interconnectedness, deep conversation, deep relationality with each other and with the land that we call home as we try to protect and rebuild it. And that's what we're here today to celebrate, is that our relationship to the lands that we live on and maintaining those, keeping them healthy, enriching the lands that we have, and looking at ways to restore the issues that have been brought about by climate change and pollution and biodiversity loss, and thinking of ways that we can ourselves act. Not just listen and learn, but how can we transform that into real action to make real change in our communities? And what action will look like in my community here in Edmonton is much different than what it will look like when we hear from our friends in Madagascar later today, or from Argentina, or from Nepal, or any of our wonderful, beautiful schools that will be joining us. But that doesn't mean that it's not all important. And so us being able to come together and be inspired by each other and be able to celebrate the work that we're all doing is so important to everything that we've accomplished so far. Now, today we have, as always, a busy schedule. I'm going to quickly share a picture here of all our participating schools, because as Terry was mentioning, we had over 74 schools in our project this year, or 74 countries in our project this year, hundreds of schools across those, because many of your countries have different schools involved in the same country. And look at this amazing expanse across the world. It's just such an inspiring thing to think that, you're not alone in these conversations. You're not alone in your fears or your hopes or all of the actions that you're taking. All of these schools around the world, children from all over are working with you on this project. So quick sort of overview on how things are going to look today. We're going to invite our friend right away, Sean from IUCN, which is an organization dedicated to biodiversity, and whether that be, Sean is in particular the chair of the education committee, but he has been astutely involved in biodiversity and environment for many years, and we're so excited to have him come and share his perspective on that. Then we're going to talk a bit about Decarbonize that's happened to date and our fun, amazing, uplifting, engaging time we had at COP28. And then we're going to invite our friend Eric to come and join us from Chartier. And they've been a keen supporter of the Decarbonize program for many years. And they're going to talk about even the conversations they're having at a policy level and how we all fit together, youth, and the critical role that you play in these climate conversations. We're going to invite our friends from Decarbonize Latam to join us and talk about their South American conference they had and the manifesto they made. And then we're going to spotlight a few schools who have been doing some amazing work and some great student action, turning this learning that we've been involved in into a project at their school that's seen some results. We're going to also have a time to talk about it more one-on-one-ish with little group shares, and then we're going to be done. Oh my goodness, it's going to go so fast. I'm always amazed how fast these meetings go for all of us. But without further ado, I'm going to throw our welcome and our message and our foundational sort of conversation for today over to our friend Sean. He's the chair of the IUCN Committee on Communication and Education. He is the president of Zambia Media. He's deeply committed to community empowerment and using creative media to facilitate powerful social change. He spent 12 years with the United Nations Development Program, so that's UNDP, and 5 years with the Canadian government, and 13 years working on other international NGOs. Decarbonize is part of an NGO, and he worked in similar sort of roles at other NGOs. He is a Canadian and South African and has lived and worked and traveled in over 100 countries. Sean, I bet you have been to many of the countries on our meeting today.
Hi, everyone. It's a real pleasure to join you. First of all, can we all welcome each other and celebrate Earth Day? Put your hands up to celebrate Earth Day. Now wave your hands around. Then I can know you can actually hear me. Wave bigger. Excellent. Excellent. So as my dear friends, Sarah said, and it was super great when they invited me, Terry and Sarah, to speak to you. I'm a Canadian, I'm a South African. I've been to the Philippines, to Turkey, I spent a year in India, did a lot of work in Peru on cooking, Egypt 4 or 5 times, Indonesia a few times. I think I've been to most of the countries on here, and they're all beautiful. And they're all beautiful in different ways, which is why the world is so special. I'm going to share my screen because I put some visual tools to help us follow along from wherever we are in the world. So I want us to reflect for a minute. It's Earth Day, but what is Earth Day? Why do we celebrate it? I don't know if all of you know this, so I thought it'd be useful to go back and just quickly reflect on why it's so very important. Really, it's one of the unique times as a global community we come together. It helps us share our commitment for environment. It increases environmental awareness. And I like it because while you're all committed environmentalists, many people only do this a little bit. And Earth Day is a great chance to reach out. It encourages sustainability. It helps us understand how we should shop, how we should vote, because it does encourage political action. When this many people around the world come together and make a noise, governments listen, politicians listen, and we need politics to support us in our important work. For me, this global collaboration piece is so important, and this community curated here is so beautiful, coming from so many places. Most of the problems we deal with cannot be solved by one country. They really are about different countries from around the world. And it's a day to act for engagement. But I don't know if all of you know that it's 55 years old. It started in 1970, started as a small event in the, not that small, but an event in the US focused, and it's grown year in, year out. And this year, you join what's estimated to be 1 billion people. 1 billion people. We like B names, B numbers, because they're really talk about scale. That means 1 in 8 people in the world today is celebrating Earth Day. Just think about that. 1 in 8 are celebrating. That's the biggest coming together we ever have as a community. And that's why it's so important you're part of it. And we need Earth Day now more than ever. We really are at an important moment as society, because we have these 3 crises that are coming together. You all are experts on the climate crisis. You've been in Decarbonize for some time. You understand this complicated crisis that is coming, that is growing. It's reflected in weather events. It's reflected in temperature. It's reflected in the way species can and cannot grow around the world. We also are at a huge moment of loss of biodiversity. We are losing so many species. And when I use the word biodiversity, I want you to think of the word nature. It's all of that beautiful nature around you, from the little tiny things on the micro level inside plants, all the way to the big biodiversity of elephants and giraffes, water buffaloes. But also we now recognize a third global problem, and that's pollution and waste. The amount of waste in the world has got so big that it's caught up, and the world has recognized it sits with climate change and biodiversity loss as one of the 3 pillars of the environmental crisis, what global experts are calling the triple planetary crisis. I have my own 4th. I believe we're in a social justice crisis moment where we need to look at fairness and equity, and that everyone is treated well around the world and treated the same, because these problems are universal. So why are these beautiful species you see on the screen so important? And I want you to start typing into the chat why these species are important. And you'll know that they're important because they're beautiful and they're unique. Imagine a world without an elephant. Imagine a world without an orangutan. But it's more than that. Turns out that these species are really critical. First of all, did you know that 1 million plant and animal species are at risk of extinction? That's a big number. 1 million could disappear from our planet. Imagine if your kids and your friends couldn't ever see a giraffe in their whole life. But it turns out that biodiversity is also super important for keeping our ecosystems, our landscapes healthy. If you eliminate some species, it affects other species. Changes in temperature can affect agriculture, which affects the way we eat. And also, as we lose species, it gets harder to adapt to climate change, because the diversity of an ecosystem makes it more resilient and more able to change. So let's reflect in a moment. Biodiversity loss, which is the losing of species, is happening because we're building all the time. We are 8 billion people now. We are great at building. We build houses, we build malls, every time we build, we squeeze out a little more nature. We also consume. We call that overexploitation. Also, there's a big problem with invasive species. That's when a species goes from one area to another area where it's not supposed to be, usually carried by humans and human activity, and it squeezes out other species that used to live there. I talked about pollution, and you all know about climate change. But I want you to reflect on what this relationship between climate change and animals are. If you see on the screen, if the world goes up 1.5 degrees, which is our target, our minimum target we're setting, 4% of species will lose half of their habitat. That means 4% of elephants will lose half of the place they live. If it goes up a mere 2 degrees, that's half a degree more, 8% lose half. But if it goes up 3%, 41% of species, mammals, will lose their habitat. You can see that thread, that arc, makes it really hard to imagine. But did you know that animals, that nature can help fight climate change? You're all climate change advocates. Now, I put this up to show you that the world is complicated. And it really is complicated. Climate is driving loss of species, human activities driving loss of species. Nature is providing benefits to people. But what we've really come to realize at the end of the day in the last 10 years is that there's these things called nature-based solutions. These are things that we can do in nature that help take on climate change. When we plant a forest, when we look at sustainable land management, all of these things help take on climate change. And we've now realized that everything is connected. We are part of nature and nature is part of us. When we think of ourselves as nature, then we know that we are part of the solution for fighting climate change, which I know is a passion you all have. A quick test. Am I going too fast? Sarah?
No, I think you're doing great. We also have the captions on. So if anyone is having a hard time with the language, remember you can turn on the captions and then you can see the words as well as hints. I think you're doing great.
Thank you. So I love this picture because for me, what we realize is that almost 30% of the climate problems could be solved by protecting nature. So there's not a biodiversity crisis separate than a climate crisis. There's a climate solution and a biodiversity solution that live together. And that's why I want you to think about not just being a climate activist, but also being a nature activist and recognize when you do those, you're being better for the planet and doing both. Khalid, your hand is up. Is it supposed to be up? Do you have a comment?
Khalid is an active participant. We might just have to move on and come back to Khalid at the end.
So very quick, because I'm running out of time. I'm part of IUCN. That's the world's biggest network. We have 1,400 organizations, 18,000 experts, and 1,000 staff in 45 countries. And we have this great program called Nature for All that I want you all to be part of. And Nature for All recognizes that when we love nature, we act differently. When you go home tonight and when you wake up in the morning, wherever you are in the world, I want you later to reflect on your love for nature. When did you fall in love? Turns out those love moments are incredibly important because when we love nature, we treat it differently. We educate ourselves different. We shop different. We'll take on different jobs. And eventually, when you have children, you'll raise your children like you were raised to care and love about environment. And those moments happen because we're out in nature. We're out in nature with teachers and parents. We are inspiring people. We're sharing case studies. And website down there, especially for the teachers, I encourage you later to go in and look and examine this website because there's thousands of resources for you to help others fall in love with nature. So many examples. In Canada, The government is helping people learn to camp because people come to Canada from all over the world. It's one of the most diverse countries on earth, and they don't know how to camp. So we're helping them. Once you are comfortable camping, you go outside. In Colombia, grandmothers are training themselves on nature so they can take their grandchildren out. They call themselves outdoor grannies. Hundreds of grandmothers are taking their kids out. Around the world, we have a movement to green schools and greening schoolyards. Imagine if each of you had a beautiful green wild place around your school, and that Usha, our teacher from India, could take out her students in nature and work with you interactively in nature. What a beautiful world that would be. Imagine if every school had a green schoolyard. And we're really encouraging what we call nature-based education. Getting education back into nature and nature back into education. But really getting kids outside, but also curriculum changes. Together, we believe we can change the world. We really do. But it takes all of you to get all of your friends outside, all of you teachers to continue your deep commitment, and beautiful people like Sarah, Terry, and the team creating opportunities for you to show your passion and your commitment around the world. You know this, you know it better than anyone. There's so many things you can do. You can Google this also, but there's hundreds of ways you can make a difference. Don't underestimate what you can do on Earth Day, which is every day also. Every day is Earth Day, at least for me, and I hope for you. And as you continue your work on climate change, please remember, this is one of my favorite quotes in the world. In the end, we will conserve only what we love. In the end, we will conserve only what we love. So let's help all our friends and our parents and our teachers who aren't part of this program to love nature. From Canada, I wish you happy Earth Day and thank you so much. Danyo bat, gracias. Oh, I could try and go on, but there's too many. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sean, for sharing that message of, like that it does matter that the actions you're taking and the care that you show to the planet matters. And that can be anything from going on a walk with your grandmother and, hearing her stories of her experiences that she had when she was a child and really thinking about what is my place? How have things changed since even I was younger? Rebecca and I, as an aside, had the Canadian Decarbonize retreat just this last few days. We just got back last night, and many of our students were saying, when I was a child, and they were 16. And so even that, being able to reflect on the changes we have seen in short lives or long lives, to have those goals of how we want to balance our future. What do we want? What do you want your future to look like? And how can you start living that now? Such an inspiring message, Sean. Thank you so much. I know you have a lot of Earth Day events going on today, so thank you for the time that you've joined. And if you can stay longer, we'd love to have you. But we know that you also need to tuck away here. Oh, oh, hello. Remember, everyone, we have a busy schedule today and we're going to have time to talk to each other. But thanks for saying hello. If you want to say hello in the chat to your friends that you see on the screen, let's keep it over there for now. But thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to share my screen now for a little bit here. And we are just going to sort of remember where we've gone so far on our journey to date. So we launched this event, all of us here on the screen and some that are joining us on YouTube. And we came together in September and we said, we're going to have an amazing year. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to share our climate stories. We're going to learn about our country and then teach it to another school in a whole different area of the world. And we had all those wonderful, juicy conversations back in the fall. And then we came together over a whirlwind weekend and we wrote our own climate manifesto where children from all over the world, every continent, came online for 72 hours and wrote and came up with ideas and struggled to make things into, ways that we could, how do we ask the people who are in charge to change and yet commit ourselves to making actions. So it's not just about someone else doing everything, but it's about us being a part of this large system and seeing the change that needs to happen and making sure that your voice is heard in that. And so we wrote the Climate Manifesto, and then a group of students, select leadership, awesome students who you could be nominated to be next year. As we head into Azerbaijan, more details later, they came with us to Dubai and sat in front of world leaders and climate change makers and some of our friends on the call here to say, this is what youth of the world, what children of the world want to see change. This is what we're afraid of, and this is what we hope for, and these are the ideas that we have, and you shared them there in Dubai. And so now we're here in April, we're at our Decarbonize meeting, launching a whole new cycle, and really sharing our turning of learning into action. So what have you been doing, or what do you plan to do now that you have all this amazing knowledge in your head and in your hearts? So this was our classroom, and I think that a lot of you have been on. This is a picture taken a while ago, so it has 460 stories loaded. So if you want to check out any of these climate stories, I encourage you to log on. We'll share the link again in the chat here in a minute, and your teacher has it as well. But you can go on and hear the climate stories of all of these students in schools around the world. Here again is that copy of the manifesto that I was talking about that you wrote together over an amazing weekend. And these are the priority areas that you identified about national climate curricula. So frameworks that really allow teachers the space and governments the space to make this a part of your everyday learning, about seeing education in the NDCs so that when our countries commit to change, they're committing to education as well. You wanted more opportunities to be involved in green education for future careers and extracurriculars. And you wanted not just you're responsible for making sure that education is with all children, but that the public was aware, that your family is aware, that you weren't lifting all of those weights yourself. And then you wanted people to learn more how to use social media to share their stories so that we could all hear. I'm going to play this amazing video that Rebecca pulled together of some of our students when we were in Dubai. So let's watch them come. Oh, how do I make it go? Go.
Come with Decarbonize to COP28.
The Decarbonize project stands tall. Decarbonize is the road prize and the change. It's the opportunity we have to prioritize and act upon. It's the way to achieve positive change in our life and environment. It's the child's resilience from a future they don't want to live.
Decarbonize is the pledge we made, all for Earth, for nature's sake. In the dance of leaves in the ocean's wave, sustainability guides our everyday. Decarbonize is you, decarbonize is me, him, her, they, them, and we are all decarbonized. Thank you. We have all come to a collective realization that there is a lack of climate education and awareness within our school systems.
Each one of us holds the power to make a difference, whether it's through advocacy, support, or simply spreading awareness. Remember, empowering women and nurturing our children isn't just a one-day affair. It's a continuous effort that demands our ongoing commitment and collaboration.
I am a woman, I am indigenous, I am a child, I have a voice and I need to use it. Thank you.
Awesome. So thank you so much for all of you who participated in making that video and in COP28. Here's just a picture of our first date together when we were in Dubai, meeting everyone, sharing our time together. And these are some of the highlights. There was pavilion presentations of the manifesto and of all of your voices, because even if you weren't able to come to Dubai, even if you weren't able to participate in the manifesto, all of the stories that you shared, all of the meetings that you had, the surveys that you completed, all of that knowledge went into building these documents and building their speeches, building their presentations that they were able to share with delegates, that they were able to do on our live from COP meetings and in our school presentations. And we brought art from all of across the world to display at the conference. And then, as you know, we had our very first Eco-Knowledge Student Colloquium, which is like a science fair focused on climate. And students were able to share the wonderful, amazing, not just project work that they're doing, but the scientific things that they're learning and exploring in their schools and classrooms. Here's a great picture of all of us and some of our school presentations. Again, that knowledge fair. And here are some of our great presentations and pavilion presentations where the students themselves were speaking to audiences full of those wondering and wishing to hear more about the child perspective. All right. And one of those audience members, someone that we met on the ground in Dubai, who was able to listen to our students and hear their thoughts and and actually was like, you've got to come to this other thing. We're going over here. Join us. And so the students were running across the huge COP conference trying to find other places to share and people to engage with. And Eric was such a wonderful champion of our time in Dubai. And I want to invite him to unmute now and join our meeting and talk a bit about his experience and the youth that he interacted with there at COP.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Great. And put a thumbs up if you thought Sean was just amazing. I thought he did such an amazing job. So thumbs up if you thought Sean was just phenomenal. So I'm Eric St. Pierre. I'm with the Trotte Family Foundation. We're actually one of the largest climate foundations in Canada, and we support a lot of science, health, and local community. And I'm joining you from Montreal, Quebec. Such a pleasure to be invited by Sarah and Terry and to join Earth Day with you all today. I think Sean did an amazing job of talking about what Earth Day is. It's crazy to think that it's been around for 55 years. I wasn't even born when Earth Day started, but it's been happening for about 40 years in my home country, Canada. So a little bit of quick historical context, just so you understand what Earth Day has done over these many decades. In the 1970s, the environmental movement was battling leaded gas in inefficient automobiles. And in the 1980s, it was all about Earth Day moving towards environmental legislation, the Endangered Species Act, Clean Air, Clean Water Acts. And then in the 1990s, we had 200 million people join environmental issues around the 1992 Earth Summit in Rio, Brazil. Then in the 2000s, Earth Day focused on global warming, renewable energy. 5,000 environmental groups jumped on board in 184 countries. And 2010, I believe 1 billion people participated in Earth Day's 40th anniversary. That's simply astounding. Today, we're celebrating Earth Day. The theme is plastics and reducing the role of microplastics, especially with children in the global south being strongly impacted by exposure to microplastics. So I just want to thank you all for being here on Earth Day. This is a really important day. We've talked about 55 years of history, but really the future is up to you. So I think it's really important to think about the next couple of decades and the role that you can have as children. So it was absolutely wonderful to meet some of you in Dubai. Dubai was extremely busy. Terry knows that we were all running around. We were all really busy, and what an experience. So I was absolutely inspired to meet some of you in Dubai and really impressed by a lot of the work that you're doing. So Sarah and Terry asked me to say a few words of inspiration about the role of children in transforming education systems and raising awareness around climate issues. So I just wanted to maybe start with a personal story of mine, where a few weeks ago, where I live in Montreal in the part of North America, we were extremely blessed to have a total solar eclipse. What is a total solar eclipse? It's a very unique event where the moon passes between the sun and the earth, and it completely blocks the sun. So for a few minutes, it's as though it's the middle of the night when it's actually the afternoon. The temperatures drop about 10 or 12 Celsius. All the animals go silent. They act differently. The birds are flying in circles. The humans, we're all screaming. We're all impressed by what's happening. But in those brief moments, we realize how small the planet really is. It's a very humbling experience because we realize that we're on this small little planet in a very, very large universe. And we realize that this is an opportunity to really step back and think about where we are. We're on this small little planet in a very large ecosystem, but we're on this tiny little planet that's extremely fragile. So it opens up my eyes. It's my third total eclipse, but I was still really inspired by it because it opened up my eyes to the awe of humanity, the awe of living. You've got 90 seconds or about 2 minutes where you're just enjoying the primal screams of joy of humans, but you realize how small and fragile we are. So I think this is a good reminder to reflect about the total eclipse that we had a few weeks ago. It's a reminder that Earth Day is really important to us, that we really live on this precious and delicate planet. And I realize not everybody will get the experience of witnessing a total solar eclipse. Many of you know firsthand how fragile life is and how fragile our planet and ecosystems really are. We're seeing the impacts of climate change really transforming large parts of the world today. We're looking at flooding, increased heating, sporadic weather, the impacts on agriculture. I noticed some people chatting about the role of agriculture and biodiversity. We're seeing a loss of animal species and biodiversity. Sean referred to that with the 1.5 and 2 and 3 Celsius scenarios. So we're all really living on the front lines of climate change and feeling how precarious the planet really is. So I'd like to maybe pivot on a more positive note. I know many of you are young, and I think it's good to remain optimistic. And I want to remind you that you actually have a lot more power than you might be aware of. You might not be able to vote. You might not be able to become a politician yet or run a large business, but you really have a lot of valuable tools at your disposal. And I think you should try to embrace those tools as much as possible, while remembering that you're also children and you also have to have fun. But a good example is the Trottier Foundation itself. We used to focus more on education. We focused more on health. But it was actually the founder's daughter, who was a teenager at the time, who convinced her dad that climate change was a real important issue. And her dad really listened to his daughter and said, you know what, the Trottier Foundation can now become one of the largest climate funders in Canada. So that decision from a 19-year-old at the time really impacted an entire organization. So I think that's the power of youth. You have a lot of ability to influence maybe your parents, your peers, a lot of adults around the room could be influenced by your opinion. I've also seen this example many, many times where really important politicians or really big business leaders, they've made decisions around climate change based on their son or their daughters. So that's an extra power or an extra tool in your toolbox, if you will, about having some of the impacts that you might want to consider. There's also having an impact at the local level. So think of students engaging into policy. Students are very good at influencing their teachers. They're good at potentially influencing school boards. Here in Quebec, a lot of students are pushing their school boards to buy electric school buses instead of those really dirty diesel buses, and it's working. Parents and teachers and school boards really listen to what students are saying. Another example is also influencing politicians, local politicians. Being able to share your opinion and your perspective is actually very valuable. And politicians are often there to listen to people, even if you can't vote for them yet. They're often there and willing to listen. So make sure you're convincing your parents to bring them to local city councils or talk to your members of parliament. You really have a voice there. And lastly, don't forget to talk to local businesses and business owners. Your parents are often purchasing from local businesses. You can really make that purchasing power matter. But most importantly is stay engaged in amazing forums like you are today. Stay connected with like-minded friends. We're actually a lot stronger when we work together rather than alone. So on that last note, don't forget that your children, you should also have fun and try to make working in climate actually fun and make it a pleasure. But while tackling this as a group, you'll only come out stronger. So on that note, Sarah, I'll pass it back to you.
Amazing. Such strong motivation. You can make a difference. There are world leaders who want to hear from you. There are parents who want to hear from you. There are teachers that want to hear from you. I think that is most apparent in that you are here. And if you were not inspirations to your teachers, if you were not doing work that they thought was valuable and rich and deep, they wouldn't have brought you here today. They wouldn't have encouraged you to join Decarbonize. And so you are already stronger than you know. And thank you, Eric, for bringing that message and helping sharing it with our youth today, and always for your ongoing support of the Decarbonize project. Yay! Thanks so much, Eric. All right, we are already behind our agenda. Like always, oh my goodness, we are always behind because it's so easy to talk to you all and to have these conversations that are so important. But what I want to do now is throw our spotlight over to our friends from Decarbonize Latin America, because they were so inspired by Dubai and they wish that more of their students could participate. And so they decided to have their own Decarbonize conference. So they brought together 7 countries, I think it was, and they came together for a weekend and they had this amazing experience. And we're going to ask the students who are online now to share the time that they had together, because if you are so inspired by this, you could have a Decarbonize Africa. We could have a Decarbonize Australasia, Oceania. We can do these things, but you have to make sure your teachers are on board because they're amazing leaders. So, Rocio needs access to screen sharing, Rebecca, if you can hook her up. But also, I welcome all of you Latin American students who are going to share for this part to take over the microphones. Hello.
Hello, I'm Khaled from UAE.
Oh,
My
hello.
school name is Fujara Islamic Scientific Academy.
That's right. Oh, we're gonna have time to share a little bit later. Right now, it's the time for the Latin America students, okay? But you will have a chance, okay? So I know it's very late for you. I'm so sorry, but we'll just wait 1 minute for them to share, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Khalid.
Thank you, Sarah. I want to check if the girls mics are on and working. Andrele, Majo?
Hi.
Oh, there you go.
Hi.
Hi.
So, greetings, everyone. Today we are here representing a huge group of people in 6 countries that participated in the first LATAM Decarbonize, which took place in Chía, Colombia in February 2024, this year, at the Gimnasio Los Cabos, our host. To mention that among the countries that joined us were Brazil and Honduras from the virtuality. I'm Andrea Castro, I'm from Costa Rica, and we are immensely proud to be here today presenting this amazing experience that shows the commitment of youth in Latin America for a greener future. Now, my colleague Elena will go deeper into this.
Well, next slide, please. Well, thank you, Andre. Hi, I'm Elena from Bogota, Colombia. Well, every day we have different talks that contributed to our process to find viable solutions. This part of the encounter was really, really inspiring because the message that connect them all was we can change the world, take action. It's a good way to start to work and to start the day. So our first talk was about climate and environmental challenges in the region by Samuel Quiseno. It helped us a lot with problem identification. Then we had a talk about green projects and design thinking by Fernando Escobar, who explained to us how to find viable solutions through design thinking and other methods like brainstorming, testing, always focusing in the end user. Then the second day we have this talk, we have to start developing our solutions. So it helped us a lot to find that solution that help us all as a community. The third day was really busy. We had 3 talks. The first one was by Julian Andrade. This woman was chosen to go to the COP in Dubai. She shared with us the experience of representing a country and a group of young people. She gave us a message, never give up, and continue working for the planet. The second talk we had was by Laura Restrepo. She also shared with us her experience and climate story. She's a person who works with indigenous communities and also with expert members. And she worked with Juliana, so we have 2 perspectives of climate stories. After that, it was time for a legal clinic. They shared their experience
think we might have lost her.
Collaboration days equipped us with viable tools and enriching perspectives. Each talk has been one more brick in the construction of our commitment to the planet. Now, my friend Majo.
So, hi everyone. As Elena already said, I'm Maria Jose Corredor from Bogota, Colombia. I'm delighted to share with you today our working methodology, which has been instrumental in our journey towards addressing the present issues of climate change. As Elena mentioned earlier, our day typically begins with an enlightening talk by an expert speaker. Following this, we divide it into three groups: politics and government, education and society, and economy and business. Within these groups, we engage in collaborative efforts guided by workbooks and supported by our dedicated teachers who oversee the process. It's important to note that our environment fosters tranquility and inclusivity, providing a safe space where everyone can freely express their opinions. Through this collaborative process, we have been identified three key initiatives aimed at mitigating the impact of climate change. Moreover, we had an ample opportunities for socializing ideas, engaging fruitful discussions, and arriving at well-informed conclusions.
Well, in the event, there was a group of students in charge of conclusions. This group wrote down all the work about the encounter, problem identification, our green projects, our commitments, all. And with all that information, the first draft of the Latam Decarbonize manifesto was created. Then, after the event, we were chosen to write and design the final copy of the first Latam Youth Manifesto. For me, it was an honor, and for all as a group, being able to share our ideas and show the capacity of youth. We started making meetings every 2 or 3 days, making corrections, designing the cover, and making all the structure of this manifesto was just amazing. Also, we get to know each other more. Personally, I learned a lot of writing, designing, and research. In total, there were 9 hours of collaboration to present our peers and our region. If you want to see our Spanish version of the manifesto, you may scan the QR code. Thanks.
Amazing. Oh, is someone going to talk about this? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Okay, keep going. You're doing great. I love it.
Now, a key part and the greatest one of the event was the cultural exchange, which included homestays, also a visit to a local mine in Nemacon, and the perspective of people from all Latin America. For example, the homestays not only allow us to connect with people we didn't know, but also to compare cultures and countries, differences and similarities. Also, the visit to Lemacon let us know more about and learn more about the area that hosted us. Finally, Art for Climate was an amazing experience where we just let all what impacted us the most go through painting and drawing. So this was an amazing experience that shows the importance of cultural diversity and diverse opinions in our way to mitigate the climate change. Now, my friend Majo.
Thank you so much for listening and for your attention today. As we conclude, I urge each of you to take action and begin crafting your own manifesto or start these regional movements in which you can talk, discuss, listen to each other ideas. Remember that together we can make a meaningful impact on the world. Let's move forward with purpose and determination. Gracias a todos y buenas tardes.
Yay! Amazing. I would have never thought that all the years ago when I started getting involved in this, that we'd have this like regional Decarbonize conference. And it's just so inspiring to me and Terry and Rebecca that you are so invested and excited and engaged in this project that you want to have more. You don't want to have less, you want to have more. And so if you feel this way too in your school, we can help you organize regional conferences as well, because not everyone can come to the large event in person that was in Dubai, or next year will be in Azerbaijan, or we're going to talk about another one in Colombia. But but we can form these smaller conferences where you get to come together and have and share your opinions with other students, meet children from other schools, and really get inspired to take action that maybe others near you understand is relevant to your community. Anyways, we're so excited. Thank you so much to our students from across South America who joined us today to share. They came on the weekend as well to our Canadian retreat, and then we had a lovely conversation about Taylor Swift. And so if you guys need to continue what your new favorite Taylor Swift song is in the chat, we approve of that messaging because that is how supportive we are. All right, so we are going to now hear from our school. Oh, I'm going to throw over to my friend Rebecca, who's going to talk to you about some video stuff. And then we're going to hear from our school in Kenya, who's going to talk about their school action. And then, so in like 5 minutes, we're going to go to breakout groups. And so start thinking now about what you want to share with other students from around the world about what's going on in your school. Now, this could be something you've already been starting, an action project you already started, or that you've planned, or it could just be, I see this as a need in my school, and maybe I'll start doing that next year, or someone should start doing it. So we want you to have a conversation with each other about the Decarbonize and what it looks like in your school community. So we're going to invite our friend, I love that it's actually happening. The Taylor Swift convo is happening in the chat. I love it. We're going to invite our friend, Rebecca, to start, and then we're going to go over to Kenya, and then it's our breakout groups. So while you're listening, think about what you're going to be sharing in our breakout groups. So Rebecca, over to you.
I was just going to ask, would you be able to share the slide with the poster on it?
Have it loaded up here, ready to go.
Perfect. Awesome. So those of us that have were involved in Decarbonize last year, remember there was a video conference where the prompt was Decarbonize is, and everybody shared what Decarbonize is. And we got so many great responses. So it was learning about culture and learning how to be a better citizen and learning how to make a difference for the earth. And we got so many great things. So this year, we're going to shift the focus of our video contest a little bit. This year, we're going to focus a bit more on climate education. So we're going to run a very similar contest, but we're going to get a new video. And the goal is to have everybody in your Decarbonize club in that video. If you want some inspiration for some great videos, if you check out our TikTok or our Instagram, we've got great ones from Turkey, and Australia had a wonderful one. Indonesia's was so beautiful. So lots of great inspiration on there. And basically what you're going to do is start with an introduction. I need climate education because, and then every single person or group of students can give their short response to that. Now, our goal is for our videos to be short, maybe about 2 minutes or less. And then when you're finished them, you can just either email them to me, email them to Sarah, pop them in the WhatsApp chat, whatever's easiest for you to get them to us. And then we will choose our winners to be featured on our social media, but also to be shown during our presentations and during our workshops at our summit in Azerbaijan this fall. So I'm going to pop the poster into the chat here in case you guys can't really see it on the screen, but I'm also going to put it through on the WhatsApp chat so that your teachers will have it as well. And that's it for me. I'm excited to see what you guys all are able to make. It's always so fun to see your videos. You're so much better at them than I am. So I appreciate all of the beautiful content. Oh, one more thing before I go. Sarah, could I get you to stop sharing for one moment? I would love to get a group picture of everyone because I know that this is a longer meeting and some of our schools have already had to duck out and I don't want to lose any more. So we normally do our Decarbonize cheer at the end of the event. I'm just going to stick it in quickly here. So I'll give you like just a few seconds to turn your camera on, clean yourself up a little bit. And we're going to get everybody to do our Decarbonize cheer. And I'm going to get a group photo of all of us together. So for our
wearing your Decarbonize shirt, get them central into the photo here. Get the hair. Yeah. There we go. I see Glenn getting ready. Good, good.
Yeah, I've seen more people popping onto my on-camera screen. This is good. So for our Decarbonize cheer, you're welcome to hit unmute to yell Decarbonize. Just make sure you remute afterwards so we can keep sharing. And I really like it when I see your hands in the cheer because that looks so nice in our picture. We can see how excited we are. So what we're going to do is I'm going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll say decarbonize. Okay, are we ready?
Available.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Decarbonize. Beautiful. Should we do one more? One more just to be safe?
I see a lot of people with their screens still
Yeah,
up.
most of them are muted. Muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay, let's do one more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Decarbonize.
Awesome. So great.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going back off camera.
Okay, Amani and our friends in Kenya, now is your chance. So we're gonna have you share, and then remember, we're going to breakout groups. So soon it'll be time to talk. Amani, over to you.
So Amani is having trouble with the internet, so she asked me to take over.
Okay, we're gonna just, I don't think I can co-host you.
No, everybody has sharing ability.
Oh, okay, you can just share, man. You can just share. Throw it up there.
Okay. My name is Nesta. I'm friends with wait, can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's loading, but there it is. Yep.
Okay, yes. So we are part of the Decarbonize team here in Kenya. Our school is St. Austin's, and this year, thankfully, we've been able to do a lot more than last year, which I've seen is a trend. We're always able to grow more and more as a team, and in what we're able to do and who we're able to involve. So that's always lovely. So I'll start the presentation. Okay. Patricia.
Hello, it's Patricia, and I'm here to talk about our amazing motherland, Kenya. And there are a lot of things that people do not know about our motherland, which are very interesting. Did you guys knew that Kenya has over 60 different languages, and including Kenya's official language, which is Swahili? And many of the world's best runners come from Kenya. The first woman in East Africa to win a Nobel Peace Prize comes from Kenya. These are so many beautiful things about our motherland. Let me pass it to the next speaker. I'm ready.
Kenya has been experiencing a general increase in carbon dioxide and plastic waste. By 2020, carbon emissions had reached 16.1 million tons, while plastic waste had reached immensely of 10% to 20% amounts of 96,000 tons a year. Optionally, due to the effects of climate change, has been increasing in Kenya, causing Kenya to face more issues from climate change. I'll pass it down to the next speaker. Eddie.
Kenya's solutions. These are the solution of Kenya. Recycling plastic materials and reusing them to limit carbon emission into the atmosphere. Use paper bags, which can be easily decomposed and recycled in the environment. 3, using natural energy, example, solar and HEP, which reduces carbon concentration in the atmosphere instead of fossil fuels, which emits a lot of carbon in the environment. Proper waste disposal, example, incineration instead of dumping in water sources, which harms aquatic animals. Furthermore, emitting gaseous waste by industries into the atmosphere erodes the ozone, the layer which increases the global average temperature. I'll pass it on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Emanuela Benjamin, and I'm in the UNESCO group in St. Austen's Academy. Our school is known to have indulged in many climate actions throughout the year, including our Friday for Future protests that happen at least twice a year throughout the academic year. These protests are efficient in adequately educating the general public and passers-by in our community on climate change and what actions they can do to ensure a better future for our environment. We at St. Austen's Academy were also able to promote what our aim was to the public by chanting hashtag tomorrow is too late to ensure the idea that if we as the leaders of tomorrow was to wait for tomorrow to come to take action, it may have been too late to save the earth. Thank you. I'll pass it.
Hi everyone, my name is Aisha. I'm part of the UNESCO group in St. Austen's Academy. Fashion for Fashion was our school's idea and way of encouraging recycling to be creatively used in innovative ways and fun ways to show that the younger years and older years as well that recycling can be fun. I'll pass it on to the next speaker.
Yes, and that is me. So obviously we can't spread the word, and we can't make people more aware and spread awareness of climate change without the media. So thankfully, on two of our multiple events, we were able to invite national news stations as well as independent journalists to come and interview us on what we do and and what people can do to help to help stop climate change and help fight against climate change. So as the images you can see, I was interviewed as well as one of my teachers on one of our national news stations during our cultural day, which is an event we have here in St. Austen's, where each class gets to represent a culture around the world. So yeah, and then also we were able to invite local journalists here to our school to interview some of our students regarding the microforest that we built. Yes, so I'll pass it on. Oh, yeah. So also, thankfully, uh, we were one of 10 schools who won a raffle sponsored by CGE and Commit to Act, which we took the opportunity uh to have a plant-based meal for to also encourage our students on our Commit to Acts and the logs that they have to put in. So yeah, pass it on to the next person.
So great. I love every year, as you said,
Yeah, that's it.
I love every year that, as you say, you're able to add more on. And so like each group serves like, this is what I'm interested. But now new students are like, I would like to do this too. And I would like to do this too. And the program itself builds. And I do love to see all that you're doing to celebrate Decarbonize and UNESCO. UNESCO has given patronage to our program here. And so we are part of that UN system. And to see that rich conversation about climate is more than just climate. It is also food security, and it's also gender equality, and it's also all these different SDGs and how they work together. So congratulations on all that amazing work. Now that you've heard St. Austen's Academy share, we want to give you all a chance to share with each other as well. And so my friend Rebecca is going to open up some breakout rooms here, and we're going to let you pick them. So if you want to quickly send notes in the chat about VCS is all going to room 2 or whatever you would like, so that you're with your friends who you're presenting with, if you're doing that. Or if you're not presenting, you're just going to talk, you can go to any room. But it's your choice. And if we see too many people in one room, we'll come over and see if we can move you around so that there's lots of people everywhere. We'll also ask, if you don't know where you want to go, you could stay here. We have students that will be sharing in this room as well. So those, Rebecca's going to open those up. You can either pick a room that you know your classmates are going to, or you can stay here in the main room. And we'll have about 15 minutes to talk to each other. So if you have any questions.
I see that Kenya's already choosing room 2. I see Turkey's going into room 1.
Costa Rica's in room 3.
I'm wondering if my internet will let me turn my camera on for a little bit. I feel bad that I keep hiding from you all, but I am here. I just want my stream to be very smooth. Okay, I think I see Egypt is choosing room 4. So if you're in Egypt, you can head to room 4. And Costa Rica is in room 3. Argentina is in room 4. And again, if you want to stay here and hear the presentation in the main room, that works as well.
Amazing. Okay, so for those who have not yet picked a room, you're going to get a little bit of Madagascar in your lives, because Madagascar was supposed to come and share today, but it's quite late for them, and they had their Earth Day commit to action today, and they were traveling to schools across their region and planting trees and having parties to mark Earth Day. So I wanted to share their video that they sent to us to help spotlight their school. Share. All right. So this is our wonderful school in Madagascar, and this is a note from their students.
Hi guys.
I'm Miti.
I'm Tuan.
My name is Fanny. My name is Fiti.
We study at Lycée.
I joined this group because deforestation has become frequent in Madagascar. Therefore, deforestation leads to the loss of the natural habitat, which endangers many endemic animal and plant species. So I want to raise awareness among my classmates, as well as my family, to plant trees.
I joined this group because I saw that in Madagascar the use of charcoal wood is very widespread and which causes of deforestation. Thus, I would like to inform to people to reduce the use of charcoal and opt of clean and renewable energy.
I've noticed that here in Madagascar, water cuts and loading shedding are becoming more and more frequent. So I wanted to join this group in order to share my opinion.
I'm joining this group because the elders told me that before the rains fall from December, but because of climate change, it's in February that they fall. It's because of deforestation. So I'm conscious to incentivize people to reforest and protect the environment.
I joined this group because I was aware that in Madagascar, garbage spread everywhere, which causes pollution in our country. So I want to encourage people to sort it for recycling or to use it as an energy source, like in organic case.
Thank you for listening and have a nice day. Hi.
All right. So that was our lovely video submitted from our friends in Madagascar. And Tambi's here. Yay! Hello.
I'm here. Hello, everyone. The problem is that my students couldn't come for today because we couldn't arrange so late meeting, especially we need computer and internet and so on. And they need to be safe home after, and that maybe for the next meeting, then I will try to do my best to keep them here. But I would like to say a little bit about what they shared today. It was really, they just told it to me today. They said that they have sent something to Sarah. I didn't know what it was and so on. It's only now I saw it and I'm so proud. Yeah, I really appreciate what they said and it's totally true, especially when we talk about charcoal, bushfire, and also about the waste and so on. That's definitely our problem here. And they really said it.
Yeah, it was such a great video. I wanted to make sure it had the subtitles so everyone could catch their what they were speaking about.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you want to share a bit because you had a big Earth Day celebration today? I could
Yeah,
probably
I would like to share about what we did exactly. So we started today this morning, and it started with a big meeting with all the students at the Lycée Adjenapun. It's not really, yeah, it's here in the capital, but a little bit far away from the center. And we have chosen this high school because they started with us with Miti as well, and Miti was there. Do you remember Miti? The one who was with me last year, and also we started with the students participated, even the head of the school, the teachers, they all participated in cleaning the school. And after that, they make some garden and also planting some trees. And the trees we have chosen was some fruit trees, and also we've got some coffee as well. Yeah, and also I don't know what is edat in English. Edat a little bit a big how to say it, a big tree. And something like that, and also some flowers. So many how to say most of no all the students participated in the cleaning, but for the planting and doing the gardening, there were about 30 students just taking part in it, and also plus the Decarbonize group in the school. So there were some technicians about how to plant the trees, and also how to use the water, and also the compost and so on. And after that, when we finished all the work, then we had some veggie food together. We had lunch together, and we had sandwich with and juice. So I think we definitely enjoyed what we did today. It was great because they had smile on their face when they did the gardening, and they didn't take it as kind of course, but they wanted it because it will how to say it will embellish their school, and also it will take some product, some fruit after some year, and it's also for the school, not for us. So I think they really enjoyed their day. We had good time together.
Yeah, look at all those smiles and hands up.
Yes.
It looks like it was fun. That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that and for sharing the story of it today. That was so great. I was like, oh, it came in just in time. I was able to do that last night and bring it here. Now, I don't know if any of our friends here who are in this room have any thoughts or questions for our friends in Madagascar. I know we don't have a lot in this room. So Tammy, how will it be MIDI school again involved next year, or is it a new school?
I would love to find another school for the next school year, but I would like to make some correlation with the previous school and the next school so that they can work together, like exchanging some experience, like what did we do, how to help, and also some exchange with students as well, especially with opinions and experience. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you think about it, Sarah?
Yeah, I think the Reza, who's I'm not sure if he's here or just busy somewhere else, but still oh, maybe he's there.
Yeah.
Reza often goes.
Hello.
He uses different schools as well. And Reza, what is the relationship between the schools from year to year? Because I know you go to different schools.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So, originally, the schools that were involved in the past, they were parts of the UNESCO ASP.NET, the school project network.
Yeah.
But then, as I told you that the national coordinator of the ASP.NET Indonesia retired last year after like 20 plus years of her service. And so I had to find ways around to connect with more schools, so to give them more opportunities to join this beautiful program without forgetting the past school. So we still have the WhatsApp groups from probably 2017, and I keep sending them, please join this, and we have this and that, and then they're so excited, and then we're still in touch. So yeah, I'm like it's always good to give like equal opportunities to different schools in our country.
Amazing. That's so good because you both come from that UNESCO lens through it. Because Tambi is the national coordinator in her country.
Yeah, yeah,
So we
yeah.
have that similarity. All right, Khalid, I know you're very eager to say something. We'd love for you to unmute.
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. I totally agree with what Teresa said. So
Oh. I think we lost you,
you know,
Tambi.
many diversity. So yeah, I totally agree with what Teresa
I'm
said.
Khalid from UAE. My school name is Fujairah Islamic Scientific Academy.
Wonderful. Would you like to tell us a bit more?
Okay, my teacher. United Arab Emirates efforts in carbon issues, and it stops the carbon from reducing more and more. Welcome to the presentation on the United Arab Emirates commitment to reducing carbon emissions. The UAE envisions a sustainable future where economic growth and environmental protection go hand in hand. The UAE has heavily invested in renewable energy projects such as solar and wind power. Masdar City stands as a testament to the country's dedication to clean energy through environmental technologies and policies. The UAE has significantly improved energy efficiency on various sectors. Smart grids efficiency, transportation systems, and green building standards are key examples. Thank you for your attention with me, and thank you for letting me present with you. I'm very happy to be with you today.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Khalid. Great job. How I hear that.
This is a very happy day.
Yay, Earth Day. How old are you, Khalid?
I am 9 years old.
Wonderful. And does your school celebrate Earth Day?
Yes. We plant more trees in our school, and sometimes we recycle old items that students in our school, all over our school, collect and give it to our school. We recycle them. We have a time. When our time comes, they let us recycle. We be in groups and teams. We start recycling and planting new plants. The last planting days, I got 3 trees to school. I planted them with my friends. And I wasn't myself planting. I had some of my friends to help me. We were using teamwork. We were one team.
That's awesome. Things always go better when you work in teams. In Canada, we have a phrase called teamwork is the dream work. And it's a way of saying that when you work with your friends in a team, you can get much more done. So it's the work of dreams. That's amazing. We have a school from Brazil who's watching on YouTube, and they thought that that was an excellent presentation, and we wanted to say hello to them as well. And I know they've been sharing in the chat about how they want to ask more of their governments. So I know, Khalid, this might be a hard question for you, but maybe for Reza or Tambi or Annapurna, what can schools do to advocate to governments? Like, are there letter writing campaigns, or should they invite speakers? Or what has been the most effective use of schools to advocate for change to governments? What do you think? Annapurna, you're a speaker on this.
Especially my school helps the environment. That's what I could know about my school and the nature. That they always help the environment and nature. We have Conserving Water Day, Food Day, Conserving Food Day, Nature Day. We have so many days that help the environment. And
Oh, Annapurna, did you have any thoughts as everyone comes in on the best ways that schools can advocate to government? Oh, we can't hear you, Annapurna. Huh. Yeah, it's not working. Oh.
I think just like what you say, Sarah, like teamwork is the dream work. So when we have like network of schools in our country, then we come up with some sort of collective and collaborative action. And then we write that into something like a manifesto or document, and then we send it to the government, to the Ministry of Education, in this case of Indonesia. Then they might start listening to us that, oh, these schools of probably, like, for example, 20-25 schools throughout the country, they're doing the same thing, and apparently it works. So why not do this and replicate this to more schools in the country? I think that's what so far what works in Indonesia.
Amazing. I think that's so valuable. Oh, go ahead, Annapurna. We hear you now.
Yeah. Actually, in India, to make the politicians or the government sit up and take notice, it requires a lot of efforts. And but we have not, but nobody has given up on anything. There are a lot of action projects that children have taken, which have brought out a lot of changes in the behavioral aspect and many things, which has made the government sit up and take notice, saying that yes, there are people who want to whom we should be listening to, and they have come forward and they are listening to. It's a tough, it's not easy. It is very tough, but it's not impossible.
Amazing.
And this is how schools are taking it forward, to make the governments listen to them.
Wonderful. So for those who were coming in at the end there, we had a school off YouTube from Brazil who asked how they could push their governments for more change. And the teachers who were in the room were saying that sometimes working together with other schools and coming up with a list of very actionable, reasonable, responsive, well thought out and researched demands, and sending them to those who are accountable and say, we would like to hear back from you. And so then they feel accountable to what they've heard from whether it be schools or students or both. And then using that sort of collective power. Oh, and so Rebecca in the chat has shared which the Brazilian school is going to share a few details, and she's going to add those there from YouTube. But we are nearing the end of our meeting, and I know that some of you didn't get a chance to present or finish your presentations. So once I'm done this bit, we'll reopen those rooms. Those who can stay online, no pressure, but if you want to finish or you want to stay and hear a little bit more, talk a little bit more, I'll keep those rooms open for a bit, okay? You guys can go back in. But we kind of, for our live stream, have to end it at a certain time, or YouTube's like, hey, you're breaking the rules. And so we're just gonna finish this up, and then we'll go right back in. I'm going to, oopsies, share. Oh, so I'm gonna share a little bit, then our friends in Argentina at the Riverside School is gonna share their action spotlight, and then we're gonna go back to those breakout rooms. So just two quick more things. So, what is next? What's next? You've been doing amazing work, amazing learning. You've been talking to each other. Now, if you would like more of those conversations with other schools from around the world, you let your teachers know and we will set up more meetings. But for many schools, they're transitioning into exams and then summer, and it's tricky to have more academic work. What we'd like to see from you now is those projects, those putting that learning into action. And we want you to share with us so we hear about it, whether you send us emails or Instagram or TikTok or any of the ways that you can share what you're doing in your schools, because we want to help celebrate your accomplishments. So please let us know. But also coming up this fall, COP16. So we always sort of go to the UNFCCC COP. That's the United Nations Climate COP. Now this fall, every 4 years, they have a biodiversity COP. And that's why it's a smaller number. So this year, the biodiversity COP will be in Colombia, and it'll be also in late October. And so the two COPs are happening very close together. But we will have the opportunity for some schools who are interested in focusing on biodiversity to participate in that COP. And then our normal climate COP will also happen in Azerbaijan. So we have like a double lineup this fall. And so if you're interested in one or both, you'll receive a survey from us and you can let us know. Now, in your own school, if you want to have some people doing biodiversity and others doing climate, that's amazing. We'd love that because they will be running simultaneously. They'll be happening at the same time. So if your school wants to do both projects, it's not going to be more work. It's going to be different work in the same project, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's more information on that to come to your teachers. All right, so that's all I wanted to share about the COPs and what's coming this fall. An amazing opportunity to shift into ideas about biodiversity and its relation to climate and climate change itself. All right, now to our friends at Riverside. I'm looking for some hands waving of people who want to talk. Where are my Riverside friends? Hello. Hello. Oh, there you